All right, I'd like to welcome everyone to the part 3 of the 2020 IJF Rule Review. We're going to cover the latest adjustments to interpretations, clarifications, and reiterations of the IJF refereeing rules. The videos and some of the slides are provided by the International Judo Federation. My name is Rick Celotto. I am an IJF-A referee, past chair of the JA Referee Committee, a member of the JA Referee Committee now for the past 40 years or so, past member of USA Judo Referee Commission for about 30 years, and I've been a referee examiner for local, regional, and national referee certification for the past 40 years. What we're going to start with, first of all, initially, what we left off at the end of part 2, which is the application of a kubi gatame, which is a kesagatame without the arms. In this case, the IJF, at least for the last several years, has stated that this is no longer a hold, and therefore you should not call oseikomi in this case. As you can see, White knows the rule because he sticks his arms up and says, hey, he doesn't have my arms. And the important thing to notice here is that it doesn't matter how the head is gripped anymore. Previously to this, we discussed, we were told that if you had a headlock where your arms were clasped, your hands in any form or manner around the neck, whether the neck was twisted or torqued out of normal position, if it was held normally and you could hold the person down, that you could call oseikomi. You could not call oseikomi if the hands are clasped. No oseikomi. But if you had to grip both hands on the judogi of the uke, and you had good chunks of judogi in each hand, and you were controlling them, that way you didn't have a headlock, that could be called. But as it is now, it doesn't matter whether you have the headlock type situation where your hands are clasped or the judogi grip. It doesn't matter. If the arms are free, it cannot be oseikomi. So you cannot call oseikomi in this situation. Okay, next. Now we start with new topic, which is number 16, and oseikomi. Oseikomi called inside will be able to continue completely outside. This started in 2016. That means previously, if you had an oseikomi started inside and you went outside, as soon as both players were not touching the contest area, the inside area, then the referee would announce mate, and the oseikomi clock would stop and the match time clock would stop. But in 2016, 4 years ago, they made a new rule to allow the oseikomi to continue even if both players go outside. So if you call oseikomi on the inside and both players move out and they're both outside, you as a referee are to allow them to continue to play and do the hold and let it go. The next item is if during newaza on the edge of the contest area, if one or both competitors mostly outside or completely outside in the safety area, uke escapes from the oseikomi, then immediately enters into an oseikomi in a smooth and continuous succession, it shall be valid and allowed, the action should be allowed to go outside and allowed to continue in the oseikomi call. So in this case, as I said, the first rule was that oseikomi, in order to be called, must be called on the inside, and then it can go out. But there are a couple of exceptions now. That is, in this case, if both players are outside in the safety area, they're not touching the contest area, and one of them does a Fusiji, or an escape, and immediately goes into a counter hold right away, then the referees to go toketa and then osekomi right away for the other player, and you allow the holding to continue for the opponent. So please be sure you know that. This is part of the rules for the last 4 years. And also, if you throw a player outside, and let's say the thrower starts the throw inside, that makes it valid, but during the motion of the throw, both players go outside, but he ends up right into kesagatame, and maybe he only gets a wazari for that throw, then the referee can call osekomi when both players are outside in this case. And that actually started 1 year prior to 2015. So please be sure that if that occurs and the tori does the throw, gets a wazari, then you can go right into osekomi even though both players are outside. It's perfectly legal, and the osekomi should be called. Now, item 17 are technical scores. The rules are now, and have been for the last few years, in regular contest time of 4 minutes, a contest can only be won by a technical score of wazari or ippon. Previously, you could win, whoever had the least amount of shido could win. Now it doesn't, shidos don't matter in this case unless you have 3 of them, which makes it hansokomake. So the scores now, you must have a positive score or wazari or ippon. That's the positive score. So that's how you win contests now. A penalty or penalties will not decide a winner, except, as I mentioned, in hansokomake, whether it be direct, one of the more serious penalties, or accumulative. You accumulate 3 shido type penalties. And that started in 2017. A penalty is never a score. That started in 2015. So the penalties are separate from the scores. There is now 2 shido, and the third shido becomes hansokomake. So the way you call it, previously, if you've been around in judo prior to that, there were 4 shidos. And over the last, 10 years or so, or they've changed the number of shidos and lowered it down to 3 shidos. And this new interpretation started around 2017. So 2 shidos, and then if they commit a third shido, you give it hansokomake. And you need to have, because it is even an accumulated hansokomake, you need the approval of your judges. And if your judges are on the ball, they'll radio you right away and say, we approve of the penalty. Now, item 18, golden score. When both players have no technical scores, or the technical scores are equal at the end of the regular contest time, the contest shall continue in golden score regardless of the shidos given. So this means that if at the end of a contest both have wazari and one of them has a shido, then that's golden score. Even if one of them has 2 shidos, that's a golden score. The shidos do not determine who wins anymore in the regular contest or in the golden score contest in normal IJF competition. Any existing score or shido from the regular contest time are carried into golden score period and will remain on the scoreboard. Because what happens is, if, for instance, if they go into the golden score with both of them having a wazari and maybe blue having a shido, then what can happen is that blue, during the golden score, blue can get another shido and the match would still continue. But when he gets his third shido, it's hansokomake, and therefore the other guy wins. And on the other hand, if white is going and he has 0 shidos and blue has 1, white could get 2 more shidos during golden score, and the golden score would continue. And then if he got that third Shido, that's Hansokumake for white. So it's a little complicated, but once you understand how it works, it's pretty clear. Golden score can only be won by a technical score, wazari or ippon, or Hansokumake, either direct or cumulative. And so please remember that. That too, as I just explained, is the only way to win in golden score, in unlimited time golden score, the IJF rule. And just a reminder, the penalty is never a score. Okay, application of kumikata. The time between normal kumikata and making an attack is extended up to 45 seconds. But it's important you understand that is as long as there is positive progression. There's action, there's an attempt to do judo. There's no negative judo occurring. And normal kumikata, we must stress, normal kumikata is when you grip with your right hand any part of the opponent's left side of their judo gi above the belt. And they take their left hand and grab any part of the opponent's right side of their judo gi, any part above the belt. So they can have a standard basic grip of lapel on the right and elbow sleeve grip on the left, very basic normal kind of grip, but they can have two armpit grips and two collar, mid-collar grips, or a high back behind the neck grip with an elbow grip, or two sleeve grips, or any combination of those. Those are normal kumikata. In these cases, you have this 45-minute window as long. Again, it's very important you understand that there must be positive progression or positive action occurring during that 45 seconds. Now the IJF wants us to stress these again, even though these have been around for a while. These are some of the unusual type of small shidos penalties. And the first is breaking the grip of the opponent with two hands. And that's where you use two hands to grab a sleeve or an elbow or whatever, and then you take both hands and push that, pull that grip off of you with both your hands. That is not allowed. If you have one hand and you pull it off, it's allowed. But again, once you break it, you can't stay there. You must attack, because once you break it and you don't attack, that's negative. But if you break the grip and then go in, that's fine. B, avoid or break or remove uke's grip with a blow or strike on his arm or hand. And we'll see some examples of this, by the way, right after we go through this list here. Next is C, pulling out the bottom of the uke's jacket or his own jacket. You're not allowed to do dishevel yourself or pull your gi out from the belt. It's not allowed. And we have D, covering the edge of the lapel with his own jacket, preventing the grip of his opponent. And that's either, or you're keeping it away. Some players will grab where the player is trying to grab the lapel, they'll grab it themselves and hold it down and won't let them get to it. Or they'll actually turn their body away and keep their arm away or keep the lapel away, pull the lapel away so the opponent can't grab it. That's negative judo, and those kind of actions should be penalized. And item E is blocking the opponent's hand by interlocking the fingers. If, not your own fingers, but the opponent's fingers, if you grab them and interlock them or grab them this way. And if you just do it for a few seconds, okay. But if you hold it there and you can see as a referee that one guy is causing the gripping and the other guy didn't want to do it, then you penalize the person who's the aggressor in this situation. This is negative judo. Nothing's going to happen. There's no judo throws that are going to occur with this kind of being locked up, with your fingers locked up. All right, and then using the knee to press or strike, and this is in Japanese is called kote tataki, to remove a grip or put the hand behind the knee to draw the knee back to break a grip of the opponent. These actions are not allowed. and should be penalized. Now let's watch some video. This first was the two-hand grip break. Even though it's subtle, watch how White grabs, she grabs Blue's elbow and she pushes it away. And this referee sees it and gives the penalty. Next, let's see. We're locked up here. It'll be coming soon. Here we go. All right. Just if you see that two-hand grip on the sleeve and it pushes it away, that's illegal. And as I mentioned, this is a subtle form of it. You can, in some cases, very blatant where it grabs and then pushes it away very clearly. All right, the next is a strike to break. Watch Blue. She'll see that. She takes her left hand and strikes. This is a strike to break. If you notice how Blue uses her right palm or the heel of her palm and strikes White's grip off, this is illegal and should be given mate and then Shido. As you watch slowly here, right there, you'll see Blue's hand aiming for the grip and she strikes it right there. And it's actually a bit blocked, but it's very clear just by what you can see that she did strike and break that grip. So that action is not allowed. And mate and Shido are the appropriate response in this situation. In this case, we have the pulling out of the judogi. And if you watch Blue, he'll reach in, he'll just simply pull out that jacket of the opponent, and the referee either got a notice by over the radio or he decided himself that this is the penalty. So he has no reaction at this point, and now he calls mate, and the penalty should be given at this case. I've actually never seen that given, but since they've included this video and they covered it this year at the January International Judo Federation Coach Referee Seminar, in this case, we're going to watch one of the players. See how White puts her hand behind her knee to try to break the grip, whether it's successful or not. By her doing that, the referee is supposed to call mate and give White a Shido for that action. This kind of negative action or negative grip break is not allowed. So let's watch it again. If you can see it, she puts her hand right there, and even though it's ineffective, it is not allowed. It's an illegal act, minor illegal act, which deserves a Shido. And next we have here, this is technique that and if you watch this very closely, Blue, notice how White shakes his hand. Blue comes in, brings his knee up, You notice, watch Blue's right knee comes up, puts it right against White's wrist and hand, and drives his knee through, and this act is illegal. You don't see this much anymore. This was done years and years ago a lot. This was because when the smaller players are going up with the bigger players, when they didn't have weight divisions, sometimes the grips were very powerful. And the only way to break them was did this, and they decided when they started the weight groups, this action is illegal and shouldn't be used. So be aware of that. Next. And that, again, the Japanese name for that is kote tataki, no longer an illegal technique for actually quite a while. All right, the judo-gi, item 21. For better efficiency and to have a good grip, it is necessary for the jacket to be well fitted in the belt with the belt tied tightly. These are IJF words. To reinforce that, the competitor shall arrange their judo-gi and belt quickly between mate and hajime, announced by the referee. So if the referee were to call mate, and as the players are walking back to the marks, the players should dress themselves. And if the knot is untied, to retie the knot. But they should do that in the time it takes them to get from wherever they are to the line. This cleaning up or straightening up should not delay the action of the contest. That's got its own problems. If an athlete intentionally loses time arranging his jacket and belt, he will receive a shido. If the referee perceives that the player is trying to take a rest, then you must be very cautious about this. You can give a shido. This shido, if you're a newer referee, even a newer national referee, I would be very careful about giving this penalty. You need some experience, or even the comment from over the radio from your judges to spur you to give this particular penalty. But if it's very obvious to you that he's trying to take time because he's out of breath and he's delaying the judo-gi fix, then you can give a shido. If the judo-gi is so disheveled, then let them fix the judo-gi, because they both need to be the same. Their judo-gis must both be tucked in. If one player has a neatly tucked in belt or jacket in the belt, tight belt, and the other one his whole jacket's out, it's not fair. The playing field's not even. The player with the jacket that's loose, if the other player grabs and pulls it, the jacket comes off of him. He can't throw him. So therefore, the jacket, you must tell the player to dress, the one that is disheveled or untidy. Get them tidy. Okay. Unconventional or not normal or unorthodox kumikata. We talked about normal kumikata, but unconventional kumikata has a different time frame. In other words, with the normal kumikata, we told you you have 45 seconds to allow the players to fight as long as it's a positive progression to it. But in this case, in the unconventional type kumikata, there's only a 5-second window, and the IJF doesn't say that. The IJF says once they grip, they have to immediately attack. That's not what the word immediately means. In real life, you allow the player to do some actions to set up, but whatever they do has got to occur in like 3, 4, 5 seconds. It's got to happen in that short, small window. If it goes past 5 seconds, then it's way too long, and it's negative judo, and you need to fix it and call mate and penalize. So to simplify the refereeing and its understanding some of the actions of how to grab the jacket or belt in a not normal form, and some of the not normal grips, the unconventional grips are the pistol grip, the pocket grip, a belt grip, any belt grip, 2 hands on the one side, or just one hand and the other hand isn't gripping, or the cross back grip where you're reaching across the opponent's back. All of these are considered not normal or unorthodox or unconventional kumikata. And as the IJF says, it's allowed if followed by an immediate attack. These grips are fine, and you can allow the action to continue. But again, remember what immediate means as far as the IJF is concerned, is it's a 3 to 5 second type of window for attack. Anything longer than that, and you'll see sometimes if you watch IJF, the videos, they do go a little longer. They don't like it. They get a little itchy and twitchy. So be careful about this time frame. It should be shorter than longer when you're using unconventional grips. In the case of no immediate attack with a not normal grip, it will be penalized with Shido. And this is almost 7 years old, this rule. Now the bending position, item 23, is bending position. In the US, we called it crushing. That's where one player grips, like has a high back grip or behind the neck, and then pushes the opponent down, crushes him down into a very defensive type of position. It's trying to control him. If he doesn't, it's okay to have that grip, it's okay to crush him, but then he's got to attack within a few seconds. Now, what you need to look for, let's talk this through here, is to force the opponent with both arms to take a bending position without immediately attacking will be penalized with Shido for blocking attitude. Know the difference between crushing and defensive posture. That's of concern because one guy could be crushing, but if the other person who's being crushed down isn't trying to come up, he's not trying to lift his head up, of course, he's got to do this cautiously, because that's one of the reasons a player might crush a guy, is when he crushes him down, the guy will arch up, and then they come in with some back throw because the player's moving backwards. They're, at least their upper part of the body's trying to come up, and it distracts them, and they go in for a uchigari, koichigari, or whatever. So you have to be careful and watch carefully whether it's all crushing or if there's crushing and the other player's trying to get up. Now, sometimes some players have such a superior crushing grip, the other player, you can't even see him trying to get up because they haven't bent down so far. So be very careful about this. And but if the player it's all crushing and there's no offensive action, then it's a penalty, and a rather quick penalty. It's one of those immediate or 5-second type things. You give them a chance to use the crush to set something up. If nothing comes of it, then it's mate and Shido. And here we have some crushing issues or examples on video. And Blue has a high, he's holding him down, but he's keeping the sleeve. Notice also he's keeping his sleeve down. It's completely negative. This referee caught it. Just a small thing. Personally, the referee should make the gesture stay a little longer. It was a little too fast. It's supposed to be 3 seconds. And notice how he's just keeping him down. It's all negative action. And here's another example of crushing, or the white grabs behind the collar, and he's holding him down. He's also got the sleeve grip down. So he's really keeping that player down, and he's not really attacking. And this referee also catches it. Again, I personally feel it was too short of a time in giving the, not the, when he gave it, but how long the gesture was. But this is very negative crushing. And you need to stop this. Spectators don't want to watch judo like that. And the IJF doesn't want spectators to watch judo like that, so we need to stop that kind of negative judo. Now we're going to talk about stepping outside or pushing outside. And we'll start out with stepping outside. The 1 or 2 feet outside the contest area. If 1 foot goes outside the contest area without an immediate attack or not returning immediately into the contest area, this will be given a Shido. That is, if both players are gripping each other and they're moving along the edge, and the player whose back is to the edge steps out with 1 foot, whether intentionally or not, he maybe doesn't know where he's at. If he figures out he's outside and he brings his foot in back immediately, and like two seconds, then you don't penalize him. But if he keeps the 1 foot out there, then it's mate and shido. If a player whose back is to the line is being maneuvered by the other player to the edge, and it's subtle, and the player's back's to the edge, doesn't realize he's there, and he steps out with both feet, it's too bad. As soon as both feet go out, it's mate, and then the players go to their marks. Of course, they dress on their way in if they need to, and when they get to the marks, the referee will give shido for stepping out, for 2 feet stepping out. And the gesture for both are the same. That's where you use your flat hand. You trace the line where they went out. We used to do this. We had a little bend of the hand. Now it seems everybody's doing this straight arm. You do it 1 or 2 times and then point to the player who did it and give him a shido for stepping out in this case. And here's an example. And again, just to stress that if a player goes out due to action, now he just walked out. Blue just walked out. He doesn't know where he's at. And let's watch this again. Well, White's very tricky, very smart. He's just acting like he's doing judo. He steps out, mate. Referee calls mate. He's got the bent hand action. Either way is fine, I guess, but if you watch IJF now, most of them have the hand flat, like a knife hand. So I hope everybody sees this step out. And here's another case. There now White stepped out. Now the Mongolian Blue should not have done that, because it looks like, he did it on purpose. He's not bent over. There could be some argument that Blue pushed him out here because the way his posture is. His arms are straight. He's bent over, but he wasn't aggressive enough on the pushing. So it's and he moves sideways, and he allows the player to move sideways. So it's more of the case where the White player stepped out, and that's the one that should get the penalty in this case. Now here's a clear push out according to the IJF. Now see, that's very deliberate, very clear that Blue pushed White outside. Therefore, the penalty should be given. Now it shouldn't, the referee gave, I don't know what, like he was, actually demonstrating and pushing out, but I don't know if that's that's the proper technique. I think you should be using the knife hand for going out and giving it to the other guy. So Blue in this case is a very clear case of pushing out. And this is just a bonus. This occurred down in South America. It has nothing to do with what's inside, what's outside. I guess it does in a sense. But in this case, it's very clear. The concern is that the contest must be fought in the contest area. In this case, White gets that ouchi, but they're outside. And the only reason Blue fell was because of the sign. And that's not fair to Blue. So therefore, as you notice, the referee was called over. You'll see him pass in front of the camera. And he was told to erase that. And so the score did not count. And these unfortunate, unusual things do occur from time to time. Now here's a case where a player, there is, as I mentioned, if there's action, if the player's attacking or making an action to escape an attack, then you do not give stepping out penalties. In this case, white does a taitoshi, not very effective, or one-legged taitoshi, and blue wheels her around to try to to unbalance her from the attack. And because of this unbalancing action, this movement of the hands, white has to step out to regain her balance. This is considered action, and no penalty should be given. Now, they did step out, so mate is appropriate in this case, and then just have them go to their marks and continue the contest. And here's another case where there's action. We had Uchimata, Koji, and he's pushing through. And blue blue stepped out, but blue had to step out in order to maintain his balance. He had to move backwards, and this is clearly action. And you just simply call mate, have the players return. And as you can see, the Russian player, the white player, really needs to fix the judo gi, but it's up to him. There's no need to give the gesture unless he's looking at you to have him dress up on his way back to the line. Because if you wait till he gets to the line, then you ask him to dress, you'll waste like 10 seconds. So use that time for the walk-in. Now let's talk about bear hug. Even though we don't see this much anymore because the players, or the better players, the IJF players, know now this technique is not allowed. If it's done as a tackle kind of action where both hands are coming into the bag. The basic rules are that if it must be done from the front when both players are facing each other. The tori has no pre-grip. In other words, if a tori were to have a grip on the judo gi anywhere, and then go in, like he had a grip, and then he went in with the other hand, and then that hand, or both of them even, he had a grip, and both hands went to the back, that's not an illegal bear hug. You allow that kind of action to continue. But if the hands are both free and they come in and attack, or if the uke has a grip and the tori comes in with no grip on the uke, comes in with the hands and then does a soto gake or kouchi gake or whatever, in those cases, those are illegal. So if the hands come in and they're not touching anything, that's shido, mate and shido for a bear hug. If tori's hands go to uke's back, not at the same time, not simultaneously, then the action is valid. So if the tori was doing, let's say, uchigari, and he put his hand in the back, and then he did the uchigari, but his other hand, that gripping hand, he let go of the sleeve, let's say, and put his other hand on the back and did like a bear hug then, but the hands went in separately, that is allowed. It's not a bear hug. The hands aren't coming in simultaneously. And let me clarify, it's not just simultaneously. If one hand comes in and the other hand comes in consecutively or right after each other, then that is considered simultaneous also. But if one hand comes in and then 2 seconds, 3 seconds go by, and then the other hand comes in, that's okay. That is not illegal. If blue attacks with an illegal bear hug or leg grab and white counters the action and throws for wazari, the referee will announce wazari for white and then shido for blue. So in this case, don't be so quick. If a person comes in for the bear hug, the illegal bear hug, don't immediately call mate. See what happens, because in some instances with a player, let's say the blue player comes in for the bear hug, white maintains their balance and twists and can do a countering action. And if they throw just for a wazari or no score, then you can say mate then. And then if it was a wazari, you give the wazari, of course, but also give the shido for the illegal action to the other player. If blue attacks with an illegal bear hug or leg grab and white counters and the action is throws for ippon, the referee will announce the ippon and the penalty will not be given. You ignore the penalty. Now that the the white player in this case throws for the full point, there's no need to give the penalty. So therefore, you ignore the penalty and just give the pawn and the win to white in this case. And we're just talking about bear hugs. And that's just fit, you know, when you do the bear hug, the hands can clasp in any form or they don't, as long as they both are on the back of the opponent's torso. That constitutes a bear hug. And the uke's arms in this case could be both in, as in this case, he's got both arms trapped in, or if the arms are up, he can grab just around the waist with the arms up, or he could come over the shoulder and under the shoulder. Any of those combinations, they're all bear hugs if the hands come in simultaneously or almost simultaneously. And of course, the Tory cannot have a pre-grip. Now let's watch some video examples. You see white immediately goes in with both hands and does the leg attack. He does the kosoto gake. In this case, it's mate, and white should get a penalty. Let us look at this in slow motion. Here we go. Now notice how white has a hand there, and then the hand. This is short enough to be considered, according to the IJF, simultaneously. And therefore, this is illegal. And he's got the kosoto gake or gari if he sweeps it. And he doesn't sweep it, he keeps it on the ground, so it's gake. And blue is not able to do any type of countering action in this case. And therefore, no score can come of this. And the referee should call mate. And when the players get up and go to their marks, or even if they just get up, you give the penalty to white for bear hug, which is shido. In this second example, we have a complex situation occurring in that it's almost like both of them seem to do the grip. And let's look at this in slow motion. An attempt at grab and a block. And there's white pushing the hand down. Watch blue. He comes in with one hand. Now notice blue. He's doing a bear hug. And white may be doing a bear hug. But here in this case, white's not attacking by going forward. He's retreating. Therefore, it's blue who's doing the leg. Now, white tries to counter it, which is a smart move. The referee allows the action to continue. But here's blue trying to do an arm lock now. And in this case, what should occur is that blue, the original attacker, needs to receive. And let's watch it. The blue attacker goes in for the bear hug. He tries the kosoto, doesn't work. The referee should have stopped this a little earlier because white attempted to counter. They were on the ground. And blue cannot, by doing that illegal act and bringing him down, he cannot gain advantage from doing a negative action. So in this case, mate and blue should get a Shido. I hope that's very clear to you. And in this case, we have a case of, again, let's look at this. White has an over the back type of grip. He lets it go. There's blue. Blue has no grip. Notice no grip, no grip, no grip. They're facing each other. Both hands come in simultaneously. That's it. So blue has a bear hug. He's moving forward, trying to do some type of throw. There, well, finally he got to it. Kosoto gake. And white almost loses balance, but he catches it. No, he doesn't. He spins out of it. But in any event here, this is very clearly a bear hug for blue. Illegal. He had no pre-grip. He's from the front. Both hands go in. He does an attack, forcing white backwards. White tries to escape. So even if blue were to throw, of course, no score could come of it. The referee should call mate. And when they got up, go to their marks, he gives the penalty to blue, bear hug, mate, Shido for blue. Very clearly shown here. And here's another example. Now this is a kind of complex. And we'll do it in slow motion because it is a bit complex. Those others weren't that complex. They were fast, but the more you referee, your eyes get better and you see things faster and you understand what you're looking at. Now, right in the beginning here, we have both players not gripping. And then all of a sudden, look, blue goes in for the grip. White goes in for the grip. Now, even though it's belt, both of them are in the back. Blue attempts the Kosoto, doesn't work. White just tried to uchi, that didn't work. And now blue's doing sasai. And that it started working, and then white lets go, and they fall to the mat. All right. So this is a very, very interesting situation. In this case, for me, it's controversial. The IJF, however, feels, let's see, 99. Sorry about this. I'm just checking my paperwork here. This video is from a previous year. Just look at it, and you decide. Should both get it? Should one of them get it? I'll leave it for you to ask your local refereeing authority in this case. All right, in this case, this is very interesting. You have to watch it very carefully. But in fact, an illegal bear hug did occur, but it didn't occur in the beginning. And so you need to have your eyes constantly in control and watching the action. So let's watch here. Here we have both, but white has a grip on. Blue has one hand on the back. And then now, notice blue has the hand on the back. 1, 2, 3, almost 2, 3 seconds go by. Then he reaches for the hip, maybe the back. So this is not a bear hug, even though he's not in the front. He's doing a soto gake or something close to that. That doesn't count. So white is able to maintain his balance and tries a little hip turn on him, hip throw. That doesn't seem to work. Now, here's where it becomes illegal. Technically, even though blue is on his knees, we know, according to the new rules, this is still tachi-shisei. White, if he does a throw, can score. And blue can get up from here. He's not grabbing the leg. Now there, he's not gripping, he's not gripping. Blue comes with both arms around and attempts to do bear hug. This is illegal. This is Shido and illegal. But again, you don't call it right away because white has very good balance. And when he goes down, blue does not unbalance him enough. And white's trying to fight it. He's trying to fight it and counter it. And he tries but fails. But now they're both out. So the proper call for the referee in this case is mate. Bring them back, make sure they dress on their way back, and then give Shido to blue for that second coming up action where he goes into the bear hug. And here we have another bear hug. Now in this case, blue comes in and has one hand on the back, then he has the other hand on the back, and white also has his hands to the back. But did anybody go in simultaneously? And that we need to watch. And this is why that's why the IJF has the care system, and we have it in the US too, because some of these actions are so quick, you need to review them and hopefully from different angles. So we have here, there's blue's right hand on the back. Then blue breaks, or white lets go of the grip. Blue grabs the sleeve quickly and tries to go to the back. Right there. Now this could be white trying for the bear hug, and he tries to throw blue, but notice blue gets out and does a countering technique. So the blue countering technique, if he gets the full point, which he should, that kind of negates the illegal act. So in this case, first of all, there was a pre-grip. And with no pre-grip, with the pre-grip, it's not illegal. And what I mean?
No one is available to take your call. Please leave a message after the tone.
So let's look at this again. Just what the IJF is seeing here is that white, notice the hand on the gi there, and then he grips. They believe that to be pre-grip. And so therefore it is not an illegal action, and therefore blue's counter counts anyways. And you'll let the action continue and give blue the score he deserves in that case. Now, in that case, you could plainly see that blue came in a stepped fashion. One hand, he doesn't have a grip now. One hand back and then the other hand back. And then he tries to throw, and the referee gives a wazari. They believe that there was a pre-grip in this case, so wazari should go to blue. Now we are going to discuss leg entanglement used as a lure. Some players leave their, like they do ouchigari, they end up putting an ouchigari in and just leaving it there. Those players have to be quite competent, very skilled, because it's a very dangerous place to be in. But that, even though if they go in and leave the lure there, and it's for 2 or 3 seconds, and then the player reacts, that's fine, and then you can do your counter or whatever you're going to do to it. But if you leave it in there longer, like 5 seconds, then they consider that negative judo. And the same, it doesn't have to be an ouchi or koichi fake where it just hangs there, but it could be the instep to the back of the knee, which is in some clubs they call it sticky foot behind the knee. This was a setup by one of our best judo players for years. But you can do that, but they have to react within a short period of time, or the referee and the IJF will consider it being a negative judo if it goes on for any length of time. So please be aware of this situation. And next is what we call kawazu gake. And this is an ouchi foot with a toe wrap around the ankle, facing more, the players are both facing more or less in the same direction. They don't have to be facing directly to the same direction, but they might be at a 45-degree or 90-degree angle to them. And the key factor here is the kicking of the leg forward and then both falling backwards, almost similar to yoko gake from the kata, nagi no kata. And here's an example. This is the Kodokan example, which is very clear. There's the toe wrap, and then boom. Now notice the tori is not facing completely the same direction, but is about at 90 degrees. Very dangerous. This was considered, this was an old sumo technique. When Jigao Kano sensei was making rules up for judo, he included this as being an illegal technique because of the possibility of injuries to the knee. So this kawazu gake has been an illegal technique all the way since the beginning. So if that toe wraps and then they slam them backwards in, then it is illegal. It's kawazu gake, and because you're causing injury to the knee, it's hansugomake. Now in this case, if you were to do that ankle wrap, just what we will call kawazu, not kawazu gake, but just kawazu, and you were to do a normal ouchigari where you were facing the same direction and doing a normal ouchigari where you're throwing your opponent to their back and you were facing them, or you were to do the kawazu wrap of the ankle in an uchimata or an osurogari, those kind of actions are okay. It is not the illegal technique of kawazu gake. Now here's some tournament kawazu gake situations. Notice how blue wraps the toe and then he kicks the foot up. It's not big, but he kicks the foot up. He throws the guy to his back, and therefore this action is illegal. It's dangerous to the knee and should be penalized. It should be mate and then hansugomake once the players are standing. And of course, because it is a direct hansugomake, you have to conference with your judges. Next is, here's the same thing, and that's even less, it's more subtle, I should say. He wrapped the toe around and then he kicks it forward and slams the guy back. This is kawazu gake, illegal, not allowed. Mate, and this player was hurt. I don't know if the knee, see which knee, you can't tell. In any event, the referee should stop this action. You have to let it complete so you can see it, and it's illegal. All right, and here we go. We're at the end of this 2020 rule review for part 3. I would like to thank everybody for participating, and I hope you join us for part 4, the final chapter of the 2020 rule review. Thank you very much.